What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of the Untitled live stream. So today we have a special guest. With me, as always, is Houston from Chasing the Graph.
Hello, everyone.
Today our guest is Micah Blunt from where would it be? Pacific Northwest, I guess.
Born and raised in Tacoma, Washington.
There you go. And speaking of Tacoma, I had the Rainier shirt on today for our guest. So I really wasn't sure what to title this show, but for today. But Micah is actually he's done one of the things on my I guess sports fan bucket list. The first thing is to go to the National, and hopefully me and Houston will be doing that next year. Fingers crossed. But the second thing that Micah has actually done is I want to be able to go to a professional sporting Hall of Fame ceremony. It doesn't have to be MLB, NFL, NHL. I just want to go to a Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I think it would be amazing. And Micah has not only gone once, he's gone twice to two MLB Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. So you just want to tell us about the first one to start off with?
I'll tell you about both of them if you guys got time. I mean,
oh yeah, I got time. The kiddo is going out for ice cream, so yeah. And if I have questions that seem kind of remedial, I apologize because, like I said, I've never done this before. So you're kind of like my my travel agent for my.
Well, I've done that for unfortunately a couple people that I've met at the second time going to Cooperstown. They didn't really know what they were getting into for induction ceremony, so I was able to help them out. So you're in good hands. But the first time I went was in 2016 to see Ken Griffey Jr. That was pretty awesome. Ended up going solo that trip. The second time was 2019, the last time we've had an induction ceremony. To see Edgar Martinez. That was pretty awesome too, just seeing another Mariners childhood Northwest icon going to the Hall of Fame. So
yeah,
that was pretty fun.
So Cooperstown, for people that don't know, it's kind of really hard to get to, even by car. I was lucky enough to go to the Hall of Fame once when I was younger, and we actually drove by it. Because you're expecting like this huge grand place, and I just remember that it looked like a library, kind of.
Yeah.
And we drove by it. I was like, oh, that was the Hall of Fame. But
it's got some pretty historic history, but you got to remember too, it was built in like the 1930s, so it's simple. It's a village. It is very hard to get to in a sense of just ease of travel. Even the Chamber of Commerce and boards of travel have said that it's not an easy travel destination. There's limited space because of the size of hotels, because of not just having one weekend. They have a golf resort and stuff like that. But cross country for me to New York, that was like cross country flight. I don't remember how many hours it was, 9, something like that, maybe a layover. Getting there, finding a rental car, then driving upstate, that's like 3-4 hours depending on which way you go. I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't have it map listed either. But that was a trip, waiting for Pops the second time. I stood in the airport for like 2 hours. It was midnight. I remember bombing through the hills of New York trying to get to whatever hotel he had planned out. So that was an interesting time too. But yeah, it's not an easy place to get to.
As far as an autograph standpoint goes, how much memorabilia and what type of memorabilia did you take? Did you just opt for a bunch of baseballs, or did you get cards of guys that you thought you might see? Because if I remember correctly, there's kind of like a parade where the past Hall of Famers walk down the street type thing, and you can actually score some free autographs from Hall of Famers.
I was at both of those. That's the Parade of Legends. It's pretty awesome seeing all the parade goings on, just watching a parade. Like the very first time I was at the far end of the street, right past the little parade, they drive on to Main Street, and I stood off in the corner, so I was able to see like kind of just how they lined it up. And I watched Randy Johnson take a picture of on his cell phone the whole crowd as he was going down Main Street. It was just like fair atmosphere and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And the second time I was with my dad, uh, we had kind of like second row seats, kind of right over by the post office, right across the street from where the end of the parade was. And to answer your question, I don't collect baseballs. I've had baseballs. I've gotten rid of them. I think they take up too much space. I like cards. I like refracted cards personally. Getting those signed, I think, is unique, especially the '90s ones because they weren't autographed out of the set. So I
Yeah.
would take cards of Hall of Famers just in chance you see somebody. But for me, when I went, I would take mostly just baseball cards of players that I thought might be there. Like the very first time I ran into Jay Buhner, Jamie Moyer, and Dave Alley in the archive room right as they were coming up out of like the basement and stuff like that. And I just happened to have a card of Jay Buhner, nice refractor card, and waited for them to come out with their wives and their kids and the MLB people and stuff like that who they were traveling with or touring with. And I'm looking at a picture of original work of like it was the old Detroit Stadium, and there was like the disco chicken, and I was kind of just taking a picture, and it was like, what the heck? There's Jay Buhner, there's all my childhood guys. And so I pull out a card while they're doing it, and I said, hey, Jay, can I get an autograph? And he goes, yeah, of course, but why'd you bring a card to me to Hall of Fame? I said, you never know, Jay, you might be here, so it was fun to see and do that. And one of the things I've always liked about just PTMing in general or autographs and just stuff is watching the players sign their name. It's unique. It's kind of like art, seeing Jay do his, he's got a nice loopy signature and stuff like that. So it was interesting. And then to go back and on the parade day, I was with my dad and a bunch of other Mariners fans. And if anybody goes back on my timeline, they'll see that I was there and I took some pictures and it was how close I was. I was first row, second row people. And I watched Mariano sign his name a bunch of times. I didn't have anything for Mariano to sign. I watched Joe Torre sign his name a bunch of times right there. I watched, Jim Thome do it too. And I mean, just people are freaking out because Mariano's, the first perfect dude, and he's standing there in front of me, and I'm watching him sign his name, and people from like his home country are like playing their music in the background and stuff like that, and just looking just seeing in the moment his overwhelmness of how a humble kid that didn't have a glove playing baseball is signing his name in baseball for free, and if you go to private signings, I think they're like $500 to $1,000 for stuff. So
Yeah, right.
people were thankful. It was an awesome experience though to see that stuff. And
what's the success rate of getting the players? Because I mean, you've got a ton of people there. There's a ton of media, and they're getting called back and forth for different, I guess interviews and all that. So is it more people sign than don't, or is it kind of 50-50?
What I saw, and the very first time I had no idea what I was getting into, so I didn't bring anything. I literally just walked up with my digital camera and my cell phone. I didn't know what I was getting into. At one point, I stumbled into a room, like some shop, and there was Gaylord, Perry, Fergie Jenkins, and I don't remember exactly who else, but sitting there by themselves, and nobody else is around, and I kind of thought it was a joke, and Fergie and Gaylord were like, hey, you want an autograph? And I was like, looked, and it was like, however much per person. I'm like, sorry, boys, I don't have any money, but can I shake your hands? And they're like, yeah, of course, and I was like, Gaylord, I was like, I've known who you were growing up my whole life because he got us 300.
Former Mariner.
Like, yeah, he was a former Mariner, the ancient Mariner. And I said, growing up as a little kid, he did that before I was born. So I remember my great grandma who lived in West Seattle. She would go to the Kingdom, one of those old baby people that you see with like the dollar tickets and buy the cheap seats and come down after like the second inning because they need to fill in the bottom bowl. She was there. And so she'd always talk about Gaylord Perry getting his 300. And so I told him about that and just shook his hand and was on my way. And, didn't get anything from him, but had a moment. Success rate, I mean, there's people that have private signing, and that's premium private signing time price, like I guess, Super Bowl type stuff. So I got Randy Johnson at one of those. That was pretty fun. I think it all just depends on who you run into, though. I mean, I saw some dudes like Jim Learitz and David Justice sitting on the side of the street signing autographs for $40, $200 and stuff like that. And, get Goose Gossage and Raleigh Fingers sitting outside of some, random hole in the wall, beautiful old historic place, signing autographs for however much. Seeing Tommy Lasorda sitting there, met Tommy Lasorda one day sitting on the street, he shook his hand, told him thank you for his contribution to baseball. Saw Whitey Ford doing the same type of thing, one type, before he was on, and it's doing all that's kind of made me try to speed up my collecting of some players that are still alive that will sign, in a sense, like Brooks Robinson. I got him the other day. Guy's old as shit. But he's still doing it. Missed Al Kaline, missed Phil Necro, so Hall of Famers. Actually. But I don't know what the success rate is, though, but you can get it if you can afford it.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I mean, if you have enough cash, your success rate will be 100%. So that's why I have to stick to TTM.
I saw a dude that had an envelope because I was going to a private signing. I bought my one ticket, and he's like standing there with an envelope full of tickets that he's got like 3 Mariano things plus the inscriptions and all this other stuff. He's like getting a decked out baseball, but he's probably pumped in $1,500 worth of signing stuff into it, full of everybody. He's like, yeah, I just do business. And it's like, snatch. Just joking, Yeah.
So that was this was all in 2016? All this happened to you?
This private signing stuff was in 2019, and the parade was 2019, but in 2016 it was, that's when I met JD and a lot of other guys and stuff like that. But as I was telling a couple of people before, that nobody had a better time in Cooperstown besides, in this order, Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Piazza, and myself.
Yeah.
Because I was able to meet so many people so randomly, so awesomely, and it just kept flowing, and it was just one of the most crazy baseball experiences I've ever had. Like 10 minutes after I got there, I ran into Rick Riz and Kevin Kremen of the Seattle Mariners. They were just walking out of the bar, having a hot dog and a beer, and got to speak with them. And this was like 10 minutes after I got there. So, these are people that I've heard growing up, and I was telling them about an earthquake that happened one time and stuff, and how my mom told us to stop jumping on the bed, and, how we couldn't, finish the baseball games because we on the West Coast had to go to bed before the games ended. So you'd fall asleep listening to Griffey, maybe struggling in the 8th or something. And then shortly thereafter, I'm like walking down the street and ran into Tim Kirsten of ESPN. He picked me out of the car. He's like, "Hey, nice jersey." It's like, who the hell's talking to me right now? It's like Tim Kirsten is like, that's you. So I literally grabbed his press credentials. It probably looked weird, but I was like, yeah, it is you. It's Tim Kirsten. He's like, hey. I was like, I don't know why people make fun of you about your height. You're doing all right, but he's like, where's your jersey from? And I told him it was from Tacoma and all that stuff. And then went into the Hall of Fame exhibit right then. I didn't know it's first time in there. Ended up kind of going backwards. I went all the way to the 3rd floor and worked my way down. That's kind of against the grain and against the flow. I did that. I bumped into shoulders with Ken Griffey Sr. as he's walking out of there's wall to wall people. Yeah. Just bumped into him, like, senior? And he's like, I was just like, nice to meet you, and just keep on going. People are going the wrong way. And so, did that, and just ran into Dave Winfield at the airport, Ryan Sandberg, Randy Johnson, all at George Brett, all in the same terminal waiting to leave. I got Randy Johnson to sign a 1995 refuse to lose sign, and he was pretty pissy about it until he realized what I had, because I had the Hall of Fame yearbook, like magazine style stuff in there, and he was, what do you want, and Ryan Sandberg, it was really weird, so I listened and talk about their foundations and stuff, and he knew that I was a Mariners fan because I was wearing a hat. And I was like, what do you got? And I showed that I had and he's like, I'm not signing that. And I opened it up and I was like, Jesus, Randy. And I'm thinking to myself. And he goes, yeah, I will sign that. And he's all nice. He's like, how you doing? And I was like, I'm doing all right. I just got one complaint though, Randy. He said, I was a little kid sitting in the Kingdom. My mom had sweet tickets behind first place when we stuck. But you made somebody like left-hander miss on like a slider, and they fouled it off in the first base, and 4 people spilled some beers when I was doused from the 2nd inning on. So You know, that wasn't cool, but I said, I've loved watching you pitch my whole life. So,
Yeah.
be careful, Randy. Don't hit your head on the way on the airport, on the plane. But,
Yeah, right. That's
uh,
insane though. So you ran into all those people, and that's just who you recognize. Like, I
that's
can
what I
only
recognize.
imagine
Yeah.
who brushed shoulders with you or you bumped into that you didn't recognize. Because like you being a Mariners fan, you're naming people that I've heard of. I don't know if I could pick Dave Valley out.
Gay Valley out of the crowd. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
No.
if you got a Donruss card from the '80s, you might see him. So
Yeah, and even like Jay Buhner, because I remember Jay Buhner with the goatee. If that dude shaved, I would not recognize him.
again, people check out my timeline because I'll post all my stuff from this time again. Jay Buhner had the beard; it's
Yeah,
gray, but he's still bald.
yeah. If somehow he shaved and grew hair, I'd be like, I don't know who that. That's not Jay
Right,
Buhner.
right,
When
yeah. So that was weird.
now Jack McDowell, when they posted Jack McDowell's picture, I was like, if I saw him in Walmart, I wouldn't know who he was.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
because Jack McDowell's he's the new manager, right, of the Burlington Sock Puppets.
Yeah, and obviously being a Cy Young winner and being the good pitcher he was in the '90s, I knew who he was and I'd heard of him and I'd seen him and I've seen his cards and stuff. But it's been probably at least like 10 years since I've seen anything of his. So when they posted the picture of him, like announcing that he was the manager, and they posted his picture, I was like, that guy could have walked by me 6,000 times and I wouldn't have ever been like, that's Jack McDowell.
Yeah, especially now that he's in Burlington, because I always remember the jet black goatee, blackjack. So
yeah. It's kind of interesting seeing people on baseball cards like in person getting older.
yeah,
Oh wait. No wait. That is that guy. Oh no shit. Okay. So
yeah,
like
right.
David Justice didn't look like David Justice like I remembered, and I just things like that. So that was pretty interesting. But you're right. I don't know who I walked by that I didn't recognize that was I mean, that weekend in Cooperstown in 2019, I mean, I can only imagine how many Yankees people were there that I didn't know of that were there.
Yeah, right.
100%, 100%, so that people show up for that. That's history. And that's kind of what I really took away from going to both of the induction ceremonies it was like a finalization of a stamp on a person's career. There it was. You got your plaque, you're done, go sign your baseballs for the rest of your life. But
right.
thank you for the process of it too. Like I remember talking to my dad, just driving around and driving from our hotel to Cooperstown, which was like an hour and a half each way. So we're talking about the trip, just reminiscing about all the times that we'd go to games, like Edgar Martinez shirts he'd give away nights and stuff like that at the Kingdom, and just reminiscing about getting snow cones on some crazy Sunday, when we're watching baseball in Seattle with no roof over our heads after we had a Kingdom for so long. Um, if you guys ever watch some of the ESPN Classic stuff, some of those games in the Kingdom, Edgar gets his name chanted, and that was kind of like a really special thing because it gets you 50,000 people chanting the same thing. It's kind of it's rooted. It's a Northwest thing and stuff like that. And so hearing that again in Cooperstown from all the people that used to do it was kind of special. It's just like, hey, one last thing. So
yeah. So the next ceremony you're probably going to go to is Ichiro, right?
Yeah.
Unless he goes in as a Marlin.
I mean, Ichiro might just go in as Ichiro. Who knows?
Yeah. And like I was telling you before, I'm originally from Maryland, and I kick myself for not like bugging my dad or someone to take me to the ceremony because it's like a once in a lifetime thing, especially to see Cal. If I would have went, it would have been to see Cal Ripken get inducted, and it is a once in a lifetime opportunity because Cal will be there next year, but he only gets inducted once.
Right. Tiny interruption on that Parade of Legends. Cal Ripken ended up walking the crowd and signing autographs. him and Griffey did it. I remember chatting with the ladies, and he ended up stopping right in front of us. And there was a dude like 4 rows back who was an artist that had like an original like 4x6 Cal Ripken 90s style print, like with his that he painted. And he passed it over the top and gave him the pen to sign it. And Cal got down on the cement and signed the thing for the guy. Like that's how much like Cal cares about his fans. It showed. And,
Yeah, Cal's
stuff
awesome.
like that. Yeah. So that was my tiny little experience with Cal, but that dude got a free autograph, and so did everybody else but me that one day.
That's pretty awesome. So,
yeah.
I also wanted to talk about TTMs. Me and Houston, we do TTMs pretty regularly. I've been slacking lately. I don't know about you, Houston.
Yeah, definitely. It's been like 2 months probably since I've sent one and got one back.
And you're working on what, 1990 score, I believe?
Yeah, it's 90 or 91. I think I've got 48 out of the set done and completed so far, and I think that I have 6, if I'm not mistaken, out that have been out for like 3 or 4 months that may or may never come back at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the good things about that set, you don't have to prep the cards. But Micah, you prefer the bane of my existence, chrome and refractors, because they are so difficult to prep. But they look, when they come out good, like there's no card that looks better than
they're the best card on the market. You can't buy a card that looks that good.
Yeah.
If they do, it costs $1,000 bucks.
So how do you go about prepping them?
Sure. Unlike for some people who don't know, chrome cards are, got chromium technology stuff on it. It's not cardboard. It's actually, oil-based like products. Like if you ever feel a chrome card, if anybody pulls them out of the pack, if you rub your fingers on them, it doesn't feel the same. But what I do to prep cards, and somebody taught me this, and I use what they call a high polymer eraser. It's a Pentel eraser. Anybody can get them on Amazon. They're dirt cheap. It's those white erasers, those kind of like not pink erasers. I think that high polymer eraser takes off an oil slick layer, kind of, that however their machine, if anybody ever notices that chrome cards have different like bends and stuff, and that's like heat sensitive. I did a little bit of research on technology, and that's how they bend out. So it's oil and all that stuff. So anyway, you take that high polymer eraser and you just pretty much erase the front. You do it a little vigorously. You don't have to do crazy, but it doesn't scuff it. Sometimes it actually takes out what people don't like about chrome cards is some of those imperfections, those little tiny hairline like scratches or tiny flecks of dust that they can't get. It takes those out sometimes. It takes off fingerprints and stuff like that. That's
It'll
one
take off bad autographs too.
They look, yeah, you can do that too. The other thing I do to clean cards and prep them, depending on like the older Topps Bowman Chrome refractor cards from the 90s, like those first ones. If anybody ever pulls them out of their like 9x, those binders and penny sleeves and stuff like that, sometimes you'll see like a residue on them, and I don't know what causes that. Time, dust sitting upright, who knows? Sticky humidity from somebody's like fingers over time. But those high polymer erasers don't necessarily cut that. What I do is I take an alcohol prep pad, like those Glens clean ones, and I wipe it off. And it literally cuts the oil right off and stuff. And then I take a different type of like cloth. Sometimes people use lens cleaner wipes, the cotton microfiber cloth, so they clean the glasses with to buff it out. I use cotton shirts, sometimes the softer cotton ones, and I buff it out, just kind of do that. And once that happens, man, those cards come out great. And that's how I prep my cards, though. And once that happens, you can not have the crackling of the ink, the bubbling of the ink, or the thinning of the ink, where you sign it in the medium pen, and ultra fine point bubble disappears.
Yeah.
And every time it's smooth, it's great, it's perfect. And I challenge anybody, if they don't believe me, about that. What you do is you get a chrome card, anyone, brand new out of a pack, and you get one of those erasers or an alcohol prep pad, and you only do one half of it, and you take a marker and you just shine up and down the thing, and watch what happens when you prep it versus don't prep. So
Yeah, I haven't thought of doing the alcohol prep pad first. I've never thought about that. I always just use the plastic eraser or the high polymer eraser.
Yeah.
That's about the dry eraser or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I've heard of Windex wipes back in the day, people using them, but I didn't like it because I wasn't sure. Like, do I use one wipe per card? Do I just go over it once? You know,
a little bit. Like, for instance, people go, "Oh, that's a lot of alcohol you're putting on a card." Every once in a while, I use like 70 proof alcohol on like a piece of cotton, like shirt, something like that, and it's literally 1 or 2 drops. That's it.
Yeah.
But I just, also through TTMing, sometimes people write your names. You see like to Todd and to so and so. Well, on cardboard you can't do this, but on Chrome cards you can erase that. And I've done that, or PTL or Philippians 4:13. I say through all alcohol, anything can be removed. But so that's the plus side of a Chrome card. You can remove that stuff too.
When you ship your cards, do you ship them naked, or do you put them in a
penny sleeve?
Yeah.
I put them in a penny sleeve, and I use one of those not standard top loaders, but the ones with the extra tabs of like BCW,
Oh, okay. The semi-rigid.
Semi-rigid, I don't know, whatever they're called. The not standard size top loaders, as I like to call them. I put them in those, put one piece of Scotch blue masking tape with a little tiny tab for them to take off, and then I put it in a sleeve, a team bag sleeve, and that's it.
Nice.
And I've never had a problem. And the best part about Chrome cards, in my opinion, going through the mail, is they don't bend. I've dropped a box of Chrome cards naked and some cardboard ones off of a shelf. My wife bumped them one night, and the ones that were bent were cardboard, and the ones that were perfectly fine were Chrome cards. A couple of them were dinged because of the weird pressure, but they survived drops a lot better. And they survived getting messed up in the mail through a rolling machine a lot better and stuff like that.
Yeah. What about you, Houston? How have you been shipping your cards?
I've gotten, when I first started, I sent my very first one back in 2010, and that's what I got the ball rolling. And when I first started, for the first year or two, I would ship them in a penny sleeve, and then I can't remember who it was because I ended up just throwing it all away because I was upset about it. But I got 2 cards back. I don't remember who it was, but they signed the penny sleeves and not the card.
I've had a few.
Yeah.
And so
since then, I just the letter of request of "you're a good player. I enjoyed watching you play. You're the greatest player to ever do it." I just fold it up in 3 like a letter, and then I slide the card in between there. So paper's obviously not that sturdy, but at least the paper will take some of the brunt of the force of going through a sorting machine or something like that. And then, but ever since I got those penny sleeves signed, I just stick them in between the letter of request and then ship them that way.
Yeah, I've actually started to get away from the penny sleeves because so I'm working on getting the 2008 top set signed, which is going to be impossible because there's so many high-priced players that have 3, 4, 5 cards because you got the All-Star Game cards and then you also have the World Baseball Classic cards, and they don't put nobodies in the WBC, so they're all star players. There's like 4 Derek Jeter cards in the set. Never going to get those signed. That's like $4,000 the way that dude charges. But recently, the guys haven't been letting them dry, and they've put them in the soft sleeves, and it just smears it. It's like they did a burnout with the Sharpie on the cards, so I got to re-prep them. One of the guys that actually happened to was Mike Cameron, because he has 2 cards in that set, because he I want to say he ended up getting traded to the Brewers
from the Mets.
Yeah. So he has.
Red Sox.
Yeah. So I gotta send back to Mike Cameron once he gets back from. He's in spring training right now with the Mariners. Yeah. And he's playing in B games, which is close to the fans. So, but yeah, so spring training. I believe you've gone to spring training as well, right?
No, never gone to spring training.
Oh, okay.
I want to go. I actually can. Just COVID kind of messes everything up. So
Yeah.
that's a bucket list item for Micah to do.
Yeah, so spring training, I mean, Peoria, Arizona for the Mariners. It's easier to get to than Cooperstown because you just fly in the Phoenix. It's a half hour, 45-minute drive to the stadium. And then there's it's surrounded by 4 or 5 hotels within walking distance. And it's crazy easy to get autographs. And if you want to get Ichiro's autograph, go with me because I am a good luck charm. Everybody that I take that is not related to me gets Ichiro's autograph. So I'm 5 for 5 in watching somebody else get his autograph. Wow.
That's the best part. That's the best part.
Yeah.
You get to watch him sign his name 5 times. It's an art.
Yeah.
You know? You can't watch Babe Ruth sign it, but those people that did, they enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, but so I was telling you, I was on. If you don't follow them on Twitter, check out Prestige Auctions because they're not a sponsor of the show unless they want to be. But they deal in just Japanese memorabilia. So I ended up winning 2 Ichiro banners. One's an advertisement for Nissan saying "Wear your seatbelt" in Japanese, but this thing is 6 feet tall. So if I cannot get his autograph with a 6 foot tall banner, then it's just not meant to be. I'm just not meant to get his autograph for free. You know?
That's crazy. I got 2 Nissan disc cards. They're playing cards of Ichiro.
Oh, nice. From Japan?
I'm not sure where they came from. Was gifted them, and they're disc cards. So that's all I know. And it's Ichiro Nissan.
Nice. That's pretty sweet. But it looks like we're at a good stopping point, though. The last couple weeks shows have been running super long, and I'm trying to keep it around a half hour. But Houston, I know you're having a stack sale right now on Twitter. So you want to explain what that is for the folks out there, and maybe hopefully get you some more sells or retweets or likes or something.
Yeah, basically I've got 51 stacks right now, and the 50 of them have between 6 and 8 cards in each one, and majority of the stacks are $1 per card or $2 per card, and you find the stack that you want, and you just claim one individual card or 4 or all the cards in the lot, and there's I think a couple of it may be like $5 or $6 a piece. But the final stack is an absolute freaking sweet deal. It's 48 Series 1 rookie cards, Mountcastle, Evan White. There's some Carlson in there, and they're $25 for the 48 of them. But if you have a stack, or if you've already claimed cards and the stack sale is just $18, you're not going to find a better deal than that on 48 Series 1 rookie cards. And Ian Anderson's in there, and it's definitely priced to move at this point. And there's 51 stacks, and there's Optic Football, which is insanely hot right now. All of those are like $1 a piece, and there's some like bronze parallels and some rated rookies in there for $2 a piece. So it's definitely affordable. I don't need cards to pay my bills. I'm not a flipper.
Yeah.
And I can afford to give people good and just get the cards out of my way is my main goal.
Awesome. Where can everyone find you on social media?
At Chasing the Graph, right here.
There you go.
Graph. It's on Facebook and it's on Twitter. And for whatever reason, Instagram was being a jerk when I created Instagram, and it wouldn't let me have Chasing the Graph, even though I've searched periodically and there's no other Chasing the Graph. So on Twitter, it's Chasing the Graph with the number 8.
Okay.
So Chasing the Graph 8.
Micah, you have anything you want to plug?
Not just Seattle Mariners baseball getting ready for 2021 season. That's about it.
There you go.
Got no endorsements I'm trying to chase. The cards I'm selling. Just collect for myself. And that's about it. It was fun joining you guys.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. I really enjoyed it, especially hearing about the Hall of Fame, because that's something that I need to do. Probably run into you at Ichiro because he's like my. Besides Cal Ripken, Ichiro is like my hero. That guy, I have a man crush on that dude. What he does with the baseball bat is unworldly, and like I love watching his old YouTube videos of him. What is it? He's like throwing the balls, hitting it off the fair or foul pole into the trash can. Or
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Can I share, before we go, can I share my tiny bit of Ichiro stories with you?
Yes,
on them?
please.
All
Yeah,
right,
no problem.
So I was telling you earlier, I said I've had 3 Japanese exchange students, and they've done nothing but, this was in the 90s, and they've done nothing but tell me about Ichiro. Ichiro's the Michael Jordan of Japan. You know, I don't know what that means, but Ichiro's coming that he was in a spring training, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. I see Ichiro in spring training and stuff like that. I'm not sure. A lot of Japan players, you know, they don't necessarily pan out in American ball. Anyways, I'm going to AAA games, and Ryan Franklin, John Mabry, those are some old names for you.
Yeah.
They're at AAA, and I asked them 2 different times apart, you know, that's how you get the information. I said, hey, you guys were in spring training. Can Ichiro speak English? They're like, oh, yeah, that dude can speak English. This was 2001. So I go to school in high school. No, Ichiro doesn't speak English. Ichiro doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
It's his image. And I respect it. It's his, you know, it's his thing. It's his mask. It's Ichiro. You know, he is an icon. It's Prince. And nobody believes me that Ichiro speaks English. And, you know, that sucks, especially in high school. So anyways, throughout high school, Ichiro in 2004, he breaks the hit record. I skipped my homecoming football game to go to Ichiro break, you know, MLB history. So that was kind of fun. And, you know, I finally got Ichiro's autograph through a private signing, but, you know, that's my tiny bit of Ichiro stuff. So.
That's what I had to do too for my Ichiro autograph, private signing probably through Mill Creek Sports.
Yep, they're my boys, Mill Creek Sports. You know.
Yeah. So the crappy thing is I got his All-Star game. He was the MVP. So San Francisco. So I got that. I got that baseball signed, and I get the certificate of authenticity. This was signed by Ichiro in Peoria, Arizona. So he's an hour and a half away, and yeah. So I'm not going to say. Yeah, I'm not going to say how much I paid for it, but I did not get the MVP inscription. I was trying to save a little bit of money, but yeah.
Hey man, I paid to get mine finally. As you know, I collect refractor cards.
Yeah, but I have an Ichiro. I have his Japanese rookie card. His it's not the Tommy ID card. It's the other one, the game card. It's pretty beat up, but the next signing, I'm sending that bad boy in. I don't care how.
Japanese?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome card.
I mean, you have to do it at this point.
Yeah, man. Well, I got to meet him. That's like, I don't know.
Just wait till Cooperstown, man. We'll meet him. Watch. I already got tons of people that are coming from Japan. I already scouting this out. We'll meet him. We'll give him a sign model.
So, yeah.
It'll hold it up and make it worthwhile. He'll come to us.
Yeah, but it was awesome talking to you guys, as always. So, Chasing not Chasing the Graph. Yes, Chasing the Graph at the bottom. Find him on all social media. Me, Charm City Autographs on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, because they limit my characters, as Charm City Graphs. So thanks everyone for joining us. Here comes the awkward pause, because you have to hit the button twice to end the broadcast. So thanks everyone. Take care.